At 72, Martha thought she was doing everything right. Every morning, she'd wake up at 6, take her medications, and sit down to what she believed was a heart-healthy breakfast. Her doctor had told her to watch her diet, so she carefully chose foods that seemed nutritious and safe. But 3 months later, during a routine checkup, her cardiologist delivered shocking news. Her heart health had actually gotten worse. Martha isn't alone. Millions of seniors over 70 are unknowingly sabotaging their heart health every single morning, thinking they're making smart choices. The truth is, some of the most popular breakfast foods that seem harmless or even healthy are quietly damaging your cardiovascular system in ways you never imagined. In this video, I'm going to reveal 5 common morning foods that are silently wreaking havoc on your heart after age 70. These aren't the obvious culprits you might expect. We're talking about foods that your doctor might not have warned you about, foods that are sitting in your pantry right now, foods that millions of seniors eat every day without realizing the damage they're causing. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which foods to avoid and why they're so dangerous for your heart at this stage of life. More importantly, you'll understand what's happening inside your body when you eat these foods and how to make better choices starting tomorrow morning. Stay with me because some of these foods might shock you. Number 3 on this list is something most people consider a health food, and number 5 is recommended by many nutritionists. But for seniors over 70, these foods can be the difference between a strong heart and serious cardiovascular problems. Before we dive in, let me share something important. Your heart changes dramatically after 70. The arteries become stiffer, blood pressure naturally rises, and your body processes certain nutrients differently than it did in your younger years. What worked for your heart at 50 or 60 might actually be harmful at 75. That's why these morning food choices matter more than ever. I've spent years researching how diet affects heart health in older adults, and I've seen the same patterns over and over again. Seniors who avoid these 5 foods consistently show better heart function, lower blood pressure, and reduced risk of cardiovascular events. Those who continue eating them often see their heart health decline, even when they think they're being careful. Food number 1, instant oatmeal packets. Most people think oatmeal is one of the healthiest breakfast choices you can make, and in many ways, that's true. But there's a huge difference between plain oats and the flavored instant packets that line grocery store shelves. If you're over 70 and starting your day with those convenient little packets, you could be setting yourself up for serious heart problems. Here's what most people don't realize about instant oatmeal packets. They're loaded with hidden sodium and processed sugars that your aging cardiovascular system simply can't handle the way it used to. A single packet of flavored instant oatmeal can contain up to 240 milligrams of sodium. That might not sound like much, but when you're over 70, your kidneys don't process sodium as efficiently, and your blood vessels have lost some of their elasticity. Take Harold, a 74-year-old man who ate maple and brown sugar instant oatmeal every morning for 2 years. He chose it because his wife had read that oats were good for cholesterol. But during that time, his blood pressure gradually crept up from normal to concerning levels. His doctor increased his medication twice, but Harold's numbers kept climbing. It wasn't until a nutritionist looked at his complete diet that they discovered the culprit hiding in plain sight. The problem isn't just the sodium. These packets are also packed with processed sugars that cause rapid spikes in blood glucose. When you're over 70, your body's ability to regulate blood sugar isn't what it used to be. These sudden spikes force your heart to work harder, increase inflammation in your blood vessels, and contribute to the development of arterial plaque.
But here's the part that really surprised me when I first learned about it. The artificial flavors and preservatives in these packets can actually interfere with your body's natural ability to regulate blood pressure. Your taste buds change as you age, and food manufacturers compensate by adding more artificial enhancers. These chemicals can disrupt the delicate balance your cardiovascular system needs to function properly. Even worse, many seniors eat instant oatmeal because they think it's helping their cholesterol. While plain oats do contain beta-glucan, which can help lower cholesterol, the processed versions often contain so much sugar and sodium that they cancel out any potential benefits. You end up thinking you're doing something good for your heart while actually making it work harder. Food number 2, whole wheat toast with margarine. This combination seems like the definition of a sensible, heart-healthy breakfast. Whole wheat bread for fiber, margarine instead of butter to avoid saturated fat. It's the kind of choice that made perfect sense 20 years ago. But if you're over 70 and still eating this combination, you're making a mistake that could be quietly damaging your cardiovascular system. The problem starts with what's actually in most margarine products. Despite the marketing claims about being heart healthy, many margarines contain trans fats, or partially hydrogenated oils, that are particularly dangerous for seniors. Even margarines labeled as having 0 trans fats can legally contain up to half a gram per serving, and most people use more than 1 serving. Here's why this matters more after 70. Your liver's ability to process these artificial fats declines with age. When you were younger, your body could handle small amounts of processed fats without much trouble. But as you age, these fats accumulate in your system, contributing to arterial inflammation and increasing your risk of blood clots. But the margarine isn't the only problem. Most commercial whole wheat breads contain far more sodium than you'd expect. A typical slice can have 150 to 200 milligrams of sodium, and when you eat 2 slices, you're already consuming a significant portion of your daily limit before you've even added anything on top. The combination becomes even more problematic when you consider how your digestive system changes with age. The bread causes a rapid spike in blood sugar, while the processed fats in margarine slow down your circulation. Your heart ends up working overtime to pump blood through vessels that are dealing with both a sugar rush and sluggish blood flow. I remember speaking with Dorothy, a 78-year-old woman who had been eating whole wheat toast with margarine every morning for 15 years. She was proud of making what she thought was a heart-smart choice, especially compared to the bacon and eggs she used to love. But her recent blood work showed elevated inflammation markers and concerning changes in her cholesterol ratios. When she switched to a different breakfast routine, her numbers improved dramatically within just 3 months. Food number 3, fresh orange juice. This might be the most surprising entry on our list. Fresh orange juice has been marketed as a healthy breakfast staple for decades. It's natural, packed with vitamin C, and seems like an obvious choice for anyone trying to eat well. But for seniors over 70, that morning glass of orange juice could be doing more harm than good. The issue isn't that oranges are bad for you. Quite the opposite. The problem is what happens when you remove all the fiber and concentrate the sugars into liquid form. A single 8-ounce glass of orange juice contains about 21 grams of sugar and virtually no fiber to slow its absorption. When you're over 70, this creates a perfect storm for cardiovascular stress.
Your body processes liquid sugars much faster than solid foods, causing your blood glucose to spike rapidly. This sudden surge forces your pancreas to release large amounts of insulin, which in turn triggers inflammation throughout your cardiovascular system. For seniors, whose insulin sensitivity has naturally decreased with age, this daily sugar shock can be particularly damaging. But there's another issue that most people don't consider: the effect on your kidneys. As you age, your kidneys become less efficient at filtering your blood and regulating fluid balance. The high sugar content in orange juice forces your kidneys to work harder, which can indirectly stress your heart by affecting blood pressure and fluid retention. Even more concerning is what happens to your appetite and eating patterns when you start your day with liquid calories. Orange juice doesn't provide the satiety that solid food does, so you're likely to eat more throughout the morning. This can lead to weight gain, which puts additional strain on your cardiovascular system. The vitamin C argument that many people use to justify their orange juice habit doesn't hold up either. You can get more vitamin C from a single orange than from a glass of juice. Plus, you'll get the beneficial fiber that helps regulate how your body processes the natural sugars. Consider Margaret, an 81-year-old woman who religiously drank a large glass of fresh orange juice every morning because her daughter insisted it would boost her immune system. Margaret felt virtuous about this choice, especially since she had given up her beloved morning pastries. But over 6 months, she noticed her energy levels becoming erratic, sudden crashes mid-morning that left her feeling dizzy and tired. When Margaret finally mentioned these symptoms to her cardiologist, blood tests revealed something troubling. Her blood sugar levels were spiking dangerously high each morning, and her A1C levels had crept into the pre-diabetic range. The doctor explained that her daily orange juice was essentially like drinking liquid candy first thing in the morning, and at her age, her body simply couldn't cope with that sugar assault. What makes this even more problematic is the timing. Most seniors take their medications first thing in the morning, often on an empty stomach. When you follow those medications with a high-sugar drink like orange juice, you're creating a situation where your cardiovascular system is trying to process medications while simultaneously dealing with a massive glucose spike. The dehydration factor is another piece of the puzzle that surprises many people. You might think you're hydrating by drinking juice, but the high sugar content actually has a mild diuretic effect, especially in older adults. This can lead to subtle dehydration, which makes your blood thicker and forces your heart to work harder to pump it through your system. Food number 4, low-fat yogurt with granola. This breakfast combination has been promoted as the gold standard of healthy eating for years. Low-fat yogurt provides protein and probiotics, while granola adds fiber and crunch. Walk into any health food store, and you'll see this pairing recommended everywhere. But for seniors over 70, this seemingly perfect breakfast can be a cardiovascular time bomb. The trouble starts with what food manufacturers do to make yogurt taste good after removing the fat. Fat carries flavor, so when it's removed, companies compensate by adding sugar. Lots of it. A typical container of low-fat vanilla yogurt contains between 15 to 20 grams of added sugar, sometimes more than a candy bar. Your aging metabolism simply wasn't designed to handle this sugar load, especially first thing in the morning. But the granola makes the situation even worse. Despite its healthy reputation, most commercial granolas are essentially breakfast candy. They're loaded with honey, brown sugar, corn syrup, and other sweeteners that send your blood glucose skyrocketing. A half-cup serving of typical granola can contain up to 12 grams of sugar and 300 calories, most of them from processed carbohydrates. When you combine sugary yogurt with sweet granola, you're creating what nutritionists call a double sugar hit. Your blood sugar spikes rapidly, your insulin levels surge, and your cardiovascular system goes into overdrive, trying to process this sudden influx of glucose. For someone over 70, this daily stress can contribute to insulin resistance, inflammation, and increased risk of heart disease. I'll never forget Robert, a 76-year-old retired teacher who was convinced he was eating the healthiest breakfast possible. Every morning, he'd have a large bowl of low-fat strawberry yogurt topped with honey-sweetened granola. He'd even add fresh berries, thinking he was being extra health conscious. But his annual physical revealed that his triglyceride levels had jumped significantly, and his blood pressure medications weren't controlling his numbers as well as they used to. The hidden sodium in both the yogurt and granola was part of the problem, too. Many flavored yogurts contain surprising amounts of sodium, sometimes 100 milligrams or more per container. The granola adds even more, especially varieties with nuts or seeds that have been salted. For seniors whose sodium tolerance has decreased with age, this combination can contribute to fluid retention and elevated blood pressure. There's also the issue of portion size. The containers that yogurt comes in today are much larger than they were 20 years ago, but people still eat the entire container as a single serving. When you add granola on top, you're consuming far more calories, sugar, and sodium than your body needs, putting unnecessary strain on your cardiovascular system. Food number 5, whole grain cereal with skim milk. This final food on our list might be the most shocking because it's exactly what many doctors and nutritionists have been recommending for heart health. Whole grain cereal seems like the perfect choice. It's high in fiber, fortified with vitamins, and when paired with skim milk, it appears to be a low-fat, nutritious way to start the day. But for seniors over 70, this combination can actually work against your cardiovascular health in several surprising ways. The first issue is something called the fiber trap. While fiber is generally good for you, many commercial whole grain cereals contain processed fiber that's been added back in after the grains were refined. This artificial fiber doesn't behave the same way in your digestive system as natural fiber does. Instead of providing steady, sustained energy, these cereals can cause blood sugar fluctuations that stress your heart. Most whole grain cereals also contain far more sugar than people realize. Even cereals marketed as heart healthy can have 8 to 12 grams of sugar per serving. And let's be honest, most people eat more than the tiny serving size listed on the box. When you add the natural sugars from skim milk, you're looking at a breakfast that's surprisingly high in fast-absorbing carbohydrates. The skim milk component creates its own set of problems. When fat is removed from milk, the protein becomes more concentrated, but so does the lactobacillus. Natural sugar. As we age, many people develop some degree of lactose intolerance, even if they never had it before. This can cause digestive inflammation that indirectly affects cardiovascular health by increasing overall inflammation in the body. These 5 foods might seem harmless, even healthy, but now you know the truth about what they're doing to your heart after 70. Your body has changed, and your breakfast choices need to change with it. Take a look at what you're eating tomorrow morning and ask yourself, are you nourishing your heart or sabotaging it? Because at this stage of life, every choice matters more than you think.